didn't want to be there because my brother was in the other camp. Now, the strange thing is we had to use Vaseline to put those, to screw those gas masks together with little springs and little screws. And I figured I didn't want to be there. So I took the Vaseline and every day I put a little bit into my eye. And then I went to the doctor and I said, my eye's bothering me and I don't know what's wrong. She looked at it, she said she didn't know what was wrong. She thought I had a contagious disease. So she sent me back to the camp because I wanted to be with my brother. Our food at Kaiserwald was pretty much the same every day. It was a slice of bread in the morning with what they called coffee, but it wasn't coffee. It was roasted corn or some such thing. And in noontime we had soup, which usually was cabbage leaves and potatoes. In the evening we had a slice of bread and coffee. That was our diet. I was 78 pounds when the war was over. I was 23 years old. We might as well have lived on the moon. We were totally and completely isolated from anything that's ever happened. We didn't know anything about Pearl Harbor. I didn't know anything about General Patton. I didn't know anything. We knew nothing. For 3.5 years we were completely cut off from the world. Completely. I mean, like my son says, they dehumanized you, and if you're not human, they felt free to kill you. So they did in every which way possible to dehumanize us. Yeah, after we were in Kaiserwald until 1944, the Russians came in from one side when they moved us out the other side to the border, because they had a freighter there waiting for us, and they put us on the freighter. We were over 3,000 people. The entire camp went out at the same time. They had 2 bathrooms on the freighter for us, one naturally stuffed up after the first day. The people were in holding tanks. They were 3 down with straight ladders going up, and the Baltic seas are very, very turbulent waters, very turbulent. I think we were a total of about 50 of us had been seasick. The rest, including the stormtroopers, were seasick, which was a pleasure. But the Germans had sent 2 pocket battleships along, saying that it will be for our protection. And I think it took about 6 or 7 days to go across. And then they loaded us into open tugboats-like. And they brought us into Danzig, Gdansk. And that's when they took us into the concentration camp there. And it was in the fall. And they hosed us down, because we might have had lice. And I was there for about 10 days, and luckily I was sent out of there with 99 other women to camp to build a submarine base, because Gdansk was an open city. It was a free city before Germany took it. There were French prisoners of war, Russian prisoners of war, American prisoners of war, English prisoners of war in the same camp. My brother was sent to a different camp. I never was able to get together with him after that. People would say that they saw him. We looked very much alike. We looked more alike than any of the others. So I said, if you see him again, just give him my regards. And we kept on working like that But I knew that he came out of there alive. That I knew. We were walking during the day, we were walking at night, and during the day we were going to sleep. And I was traveling together with a girl, Ruth, who was very sick while we were walking. And I said to her, Ruth, let's keep on walking, because if we did not walk, if we would have stopped walking, they would have shot us, because they wouldn't leave anybody sitting at the side. And her birthday was the 11th of March. I'll never forget that. I said, Ruth will walk until your birthday. And if you're not going to be getting liberated by then, I'll sit down with you. Okay? We were liberated the 10th of March. We heard yelling. Raise your hands in German. Raise your hands, put your weapons on the floor, raise your hands. The Russians came in. And boy, you should have seen the Germans. They really raised their hands, put the weapons on the floor. And then we were able to do whatever we wanted to do. And one thing Ruth wanted was desperately, she wanted a glass of milk. So the first thing I did when we were liberated, I sat down under a cow and I milked, and I gave her some milk to drink. Because I've been in my grandparents' house where they had cows and goats, and I knew how to milk. So I did that, and then we were able to do whatever we wanted to do. We could throw all the Germans out of their houses, could take everything over. The Russians gave us no limitations whatsoever. In fact, we could have killed as many people as we wanted to, but I don't know of anybody that killed anybody. And then one by one, we all got sick with typhus fever. They opened up an old castle and they made an emergency hospital out of it. I came into that hospital with 104 temperature. They had no medication, none whatsoever to give us. What they gave us every day was a shot glass of vodka and dextrose. That was the entire medicine that we had. But my temperature was down in about 2 or 3 weeks. It was down to nothing. And then after 6 weeks, I was able to leave the hospital. And we were liberated the 10th of March, and the 1st or the 2nd of May, they moved us out of that little village to the nearest train station. We got on the train. All of a sudden, the Russians are storming the train. We were just as afraid for the Russians as we were for the Nazis. So we went down, my girlfriend and I went down the back of the train, the other side of the train, and stood in between the two cars, the car in front of us and the car we were on. So the other car in front of us was occupied by French prisoners of war. One of them started to talk to us. Well, I couldn't talk to him, but my girlfriend spoke perfect French. So she started to talk to him, and she told him that she's French. So he said, so why don't you come with us? We are a French prisoner of war transport, we are going back to France. She said, but I want her me to go with her. So he said, okay, we'll see that she's going to come along with us. Tell everybody that she's French born. Okay. I was supposed to be born in Strasbourg, and which I never saw in my life. There were 2 people, plus that leader, that I was able to talk in front of. For the rest of the people I couldn't talk. Well, I kind of looked like I was a little crazy anyway, because I had my hair shaved off. They shave your hair off when you have typhus fever, because it is carried by lice. So they shaved my hair. There was a second time that it was shaved, so it didn't matter much. I would say about 4 weeks we traveled like that.